Crypto is seeing a correction, and especially altcoins are seeing some red candles, and also XRP, Bitcoin. And in this video today, I'm going to go with you through some charts which basically explain everything that is happening right now. And I'm going also to show you how you could actually knew this already earlier, that something like this was likely on the table. Of course, there are no certainties, but there will be some interesting charts that will be shared in today's video with some knowledge that can definitely be mind-blowing. I'm going to talk about this one, guys. Russia lawmaker proposes national Bitcoin reserve. We're going to have a look at Bitcoin. Are we still in the pattern? What can we expect in the coming days and weeks ahead? We're going to talk about this chart, XRP, Bitcoin dominance, and if you are looking to re-enter some XRP, you want to buy some XRP, I'm going to share some levels that I think are looking interesting. So guys, let's jump straight into it. First of all, very interesting news. We are seeing that Russian lawmaker proposes national Bitcoin reserve, and this is just something that I think will happen across all the globe. So we are going to see this trend where we have like a lot of countries, actually every country is in a state of debt. They have a debt to a central bank. They owe people money, and most countries, they owe so much money, or they have such a big debt that it's not even possible. For example, the United States of America, it's not even possible to repay that debt. It's technically basically not possible. However, depending, if you, for example, have a Bitcoin reserve, so you put all your money into Bitcoin as a government, and suddenly the world is going to adapt that standard, then you might be able to pay off your debt as one of the only countries, right? Because a lot of liquidity, you actually take a lot of liquidity from different countries by making these moves. And that's why it's so smart from these big countries to do this, because the smaller countries, except El Salvador, they don't really have this, right? There is no, like, Germany's sold all their Bitcoin. I think in the Middle East there are some countries holding Bitcoin. I think Bulgaria is also one country that's holding Bitcoin, which is very, very smart. Because right now America and Donald Trump is talking about a national Bitcoin reserve for the government, right? And this will just bring a lot of liquidity in Bitcoin. And it will stick into Bitcoin. Bitcoin will most likely become less volatile. It will be probably a huge asset in the future. And a lot of smaller countries with still much money and much liquidity, high GDP, they will probably adapt this too. So the biggest countries like Russia and the United States, they are one of the first ones. Very smart moves, but smaller countries will probably follow, as they have no other choice, because the currency. So actually, you can compare this with, for example, people in Venezuela, right? At one moment, the currency has such a high inflation that they don't have another choice than to use some form of a crypto. Even though crypto is volatile, their own currency is even more volatile. And this is going to happen across the globe. So with the euro, the US dollar, this becomes more volatile than crypto eventually. And therefore, I think a lot of countries will do this just to stabilize their wealth, basically. They will maybe also use gold or precious metals. But maybe if you heard, the El Salvador just found like $3 trillion worth of gold that they are going to mine. They announced that. Pretty insane. But that's something for another video, guys. I want to go to the charts. This is going to be a more technical video, right? So when we have a look at Bitcoin, then I would actually say we had a shakeout right here, but the structure of Bitcoin still stands. The structure of Bitcoin still stands. We have this is type of like a rising wedge formation. Generally, these are bearish patterns when we are entered them from a downtrend. But now we've entered them from an uptrend. So I have to say, then they can function as a continuational pattern. So that means we have an uptrend pattern, continue the uptrend. And so far, we haven't seen a confirmed breakdown. So a breakdown would be break below this white line, come back up to retest it as resistance, and then break this low again. When that happens, we have a confirmed breakdown. The target would be then at 86,000 US dollars. And maybe if that were to be the case, we even come down as low as 75,000 US dollars. Would be, in my opinion, a great buying opportunity. But right now, I'm not yet seeing that. Not yet seeing the evidence for that, because we haven't seen a breakout. But it's this smaller correction, we actually called that over on our private Telegram channel, which is called Will Alerts. I've been sharing right here. Okay, the stablecoin dominance is setting up for a bounce. Now, late in the 60-day cycle, I would say chances increase of a correction. Like I always say, guys, there's no certainty in the markets. There's just a likely, like a higher probability outcome. And why is this chart so important? And this is the stablecoin dominance, because this chart, and I can show you maybe better on a 4-hour time frame right here. This chart has an inverse correlation with Bitcoin and basically the regular crypto market. So what happens if I show you, if I add the Bitcoin price on this chart, you can see that an inverse correlation is that this chart does the exact opposite as what Bitcoin does. So when this chart goes down, Bitcoin goes up, because when the stablecoin dominance, which is the total dominance of the money that is parked in stablecoins, when that goes down, where does that money go? It goes to Bitcoin. And when it comes to stablecoins, leaving Bitcoin and crypto going into stablecoins, the dominance goes up. So you can see right here, we come down in the dominance, the Bitcoin price goes up. But when the dominance goes up, the Bitcoin price, which is the pink line right here, goes down. This clearly illustrates the inverse correlation. And what we have seen right here, that's what I also shared. We have these low, higher low, higher low, lower lows in the price. That's called a bullish divergence. Falling wedge formation, and we break this falling wedge to the upside. We got exactly rejected so far from the middle of this channel. So this could actually be a moment where it's rolling over. If we break above this middle, then the correction is going to last longer. That will coincide with Bitcoin breaking down right here. So just something to take note of. And what's very interesting with this drop is that altcoins actually doing pretty worse. But I got good news for everyone holding altcoins. And that is, let's have a look at the Bitcoin dominance. So we have the Bitcoin dominance, which is showing us how much liquidity of the complete crypto market is centered in Bitcoin. So the higher this is, the more money is parked in Bitcoin. The lower this is, the more money that's going to altcoins, basically. And what we have seen so far is that we have a nice grind up for a very long time without that much corrections. We got rejected from the red box right here, which is the resistance zone, and then we got a big drop. You probably all gained a lot from this drop, because we've been trading on this channel a lot of altcoins like XRP, XLM. They all went up when Bitcoin dominance dropped like this. So we made very nice returns on those altcoins during this drop. But of course, and that's also something that I've stated in my previous videos, the Bitcoin dominance will not go like this. It will always come down in like stairs like this. And I've also been sharing over on the private Telegram channel and also right here on the YouTube channel that I personally think that right now the Bitcoin dominance will go up. I said it actually when we were still here. And the reason for that was because all the attention was going to altcoins, but Bitcoin slowly is consolidating at the 100,000 US dollar level. I think when we really, with a lot of confidence, break that level, we go to 110, 120, and then we get all these news articles like national Bitcoin reserves. That's going to be maybe the narrative, right? But this bounce for me was already expected, because we had a huge drop, a drop of, let's say, over 10%. We tapped a very key Fibonacci level, 23.60%, right? And from that level we bounced. And also when we dive into the 4-hour time frame, you can see again, very much oversold momentum indicator. Yeah, basically textbook bounce, if you ask me. So this was for me all expected, and nothing wrong or nothing strange is happening right here. Yeah, Bitcoin is correcting and the alt's correcting even further because the Bitcoin dominance is going up. Then we are going to the star of this bull market, XRP, guys, and this is XRP against Bitcoin. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I've also shared on the channel that we are touching a very key resistance level in the XRP against Bitcoin chart. And I expect, because also previous times when we touched these levels, we got quite some corrections, right? This is a very significant level. So I've been expecting, if we are touching this level, even though if we want to break this level, we first have to come down a little bit, see some selling pressure before we can gain new momentum to really break this level, right? And I still think eventually we're going to break this level, but don't forget, guys, that we are seeing a very strong move in XRP against Bitcoin straight into the resistance, and this is an increase from the lows till the highs roughly of 300%. Pretty insane, especially even more insane when you look at XRP against US dollar. But that's not nothing, right? So normally when we quickly go up, we could get some struggles at the first resistance. If we, for example, do like we come down and we test resistance again, but we just from this is the low, then we have just a little stretch, and then we can push to the resistance. This is a very long stretch, and then just to break resistance in one go has a very small chance, because the stretch is already long. That means longer in the stretch, the momentum is fading. When the momentum is fading, it's difficult to break through a key resistance level, right? Maybe a small resistance level we can break, but a key resistance level as this is difficult to break when we are already stretched like this. Now, let's go to XRP against US dollar. We are seeing right here that we had this uptrend similar as XRP against Bitcoin. So on the 4 hour, it's really nice visible. We had this long uptrend since the 12th of November, 1 month uptrend. And we had that uptrend in the US dollar, right? But we broke that uptrend, which clearly shows us right now that momentum in the short-term time frame is a little bit coming down. So that is something we just got to take into consideration. But we also have to take into consideration that XRP has seen a very big breakout on the larger time frames. When we go to the weekly time frame, and you see this triangle formation that I've mentioned so many times, and we are breaking the triangle formation, and looking at the move that we have seen this breakout with, it's a pretty significant breakout, something that most likely will push higher. But again, like I said with the Bitcoin dominance, it will not go in one line. It will come up, down, up, and down. As you can see, we're also at the previous high right here. And again, this is also the same story. We have a very long stretch, and then we touch the previous high. We are not going to break that most likely in one go. So previous time, here we also had it. We touched to the previous high. We get a correction of, what is this? Pretty deep correction. 50, like this is. It looks like a small correction when you look at this on the chart. This looks like a small correction. It's over 50%. If we were to have an over 50% correction right here, that would bring the price of XRP back to $1.32. So don't be surprised if XRP would correct like this, but then maybe a couple of weeks later trades at new all-time highs again. If you don't want to have that headache, then just hold and don't do anything, especially no leverage, because these things can get ugly. But let's have a look. What are some interesting points where you could actually look for new entries on XRP? Well, first of all, we can bring some Fibonacci levels from the lows right here. We can put it here. And then we can see some levels that are already interesting, because especially levels that coincide with previous support and resistance level, and they do. So we have the first one with this support and resistance level is at $1.88. That seems to me like a pretty the first key level, basically, if XRP will correct further, if we do get the chance, if this is not an ABC that right now is already completed, which is also possible, that this was just a ABC, that we have like what is it, a 1 2 3 4 5 wave up, ABC correction that right now is completed, and we go up. If we correct further, then I would be looking at 188. If we dive even deeper, 146, and if we dive really deeper, 120. And in a crazy scenario, which I think is not that likely, going into the golden pocket, and the golden pocket is the golden ratio. And this tells us why these levels are important. The golden ratio, the most important level, is actually at the same spot where the previous resistance is. So you see the golden ratio right here is exactly where the previous resistance is, which could flip into support. That tells us how significant this is, right? So, but I wouldn't be that surprised if we already finished that correction and that we go higher, because Bitcoin looks like that too. It really depends whether we want to break down right here, or whether the stablecoin dominance wants to break the middle of this channel right here, or whether we are already seeing the top and that we are rolling over to be coming back down. Something about timing that I quickly want to mention is that we are, if we look at the cycle, the 60-day cycle, we are, and this is also something that I said, we are in the last part of that 60-day cycle where the chances of corrections are just basically increasing. That's something we got to be aware of. And yeah, maybe we do come down until the next 60-day cycle low. That brings me to the positive news. The next 60-day cycle low is on January the 6th. And you guys know what's going to happen on the 20th of January. Because we are going to see Gary Gensler resign. We are going to see Trump stepping into office. A lot of exciting things happening. And that's what we got to do. We have to look a little bit in the future. So whether Bitcoin goes up right now, maybe corrects at the 6th, or maybe it does even something like this. But the next narrative, probably around the 6th of January, will already become like, oh, Gary Gensler will resign, Trump will be stepping into office. So we have to think about that already right now. Then we also get the new story, of course, that the Super Bowl is going to be very bullish. February is going to be very bullish. Brandon Biggs also talked about that. I think that coincides as well with a big altcoin season. If we can see Bitcoin dominance, going up, having a bounce right here, I think it will roll over. And once it rolls over, it will go below these lows, which mean that all the altcoins that made highs right now will make higher highs when this happens, and maybe this thing even goes lower. I think we are going to see a very, very big altcoin season, and it really makes sense in this part of the cycle. To explain it a little bit, we have like Bitcoin being going to $100,000 US. Okay, that target was reached. Suddenly altcoins are popping out, people taking some profits in Bitcoin, putting it into altcoins. That was this move from the top down. Then we get suddenly the story Bitcoin is king again, liquidity going back to Bitcoin, but doesn't reach the same high as we have seen right here, but it does come up, and there will come a lot of attention to Bitcoin with some story. And I think maybe national reserves, a lot of countries are doing something like that. That can be the narrative, but of course that's just the emotional side. People just want to rationalize what they see on the charts, but basically the charts are the most important thing. And then this will be rolling over, and then that can definitely happen around maybe January, February, like a very big alt season, and Brandon could be right about that. And yeah, I'm definitely think that this is one of the scenarios that I'm basically watching right now. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. Are we going to see a correction right here with Bitcoin until early January and then we pop off again, or are we going to pop off first and then see a correction? Very curious what you think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Then I wanted to ask or put your attention to the following thing. We have this Discord, right, where we're talking about a lot of things about the wealth transfer. We're talking about the news. We're talking about which locations can we move. We're talking about content ideas for videos, and yeah, a lot of interesting things. People talking about Bible study here as well. If you are interested in joining the community, make sure to join. I have the link of Discord down below in the description. I also want to ask you guys for some information. I want to make a new video about 589 with XRP. Where does 589 come from? If you guys know where this number comes from, share it over on Discord. I would be very interesting to read about that. And I also want to make a video where I want to share all the mistakes that I've been making in the past couple of years. I'm in crypto since 2016. I've been making a lot of mistakes. I've seen many people making mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes that are same mistakes that people often experience. I just want to make a video with this wealth transfer as well to think about what are some key things that people can do, can put their attention to, can learn from me that can prevent them to make similar mistakes. And one of them, and I will dive deeper into that. In the future. But one of them is, for example, greed. The emotional state of greed is a emotional state that can create a big disaster. Also a lot of learning lessons, but that's one of the things that I basically want to mention. I'm not going to dive too deep into that right now, but then and if you have different things that you think like, hey, but how does this work, and what do you do when you do this, and is this dangerous, and what are the most obvious scams, what are very complex scams, what are these things? If you have any questions, drop them in the comments or on Discord, and I will bring that into the video, so I can basically just clear a lot of things up for you guys. Also for the ones, and this is really for the more experienced ones, if you are interested in the private Telegram channel Will Alerts, you can join this Telegram channel for free. The only condition that we have is that you have to join an exchange through our affiliate link, which I have down below in the description as well. I'm recommending Bybit and Phoenix, and both of these exchanges, if you use the affiliate link down below, you get some extra benefits like 1 month VIP on Phoenix, and on Bybit you can get a deposit bonus up to $30,000. Guys, that was it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, drop a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. I wish every single one of you a beautiful day today, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video. Bye bye.